Alright, what's going on, guys? Trap back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my weekly review for this week's episode of The Walking Dead Season 4. This week we got to see the finale of The Walking Dead Season 4, Episode 16, which was simply called A. And of course, as always, my reviews do contain spoilers for anyone who's not actually seen the episode yet. I'm going to ruin it for you, so you may not want to watch this if you haven't seen it yet. That said, I thought it was a pretty good finale overall. We didn't get any actual character deaths from our core group. Of course, did predict that Joe's group wouldn't make it through this season, and seemingly so, they didn't. Probably my favorite part of the entire thing would have to be that whole confrontation between Joe's group and Rick's group. I really enjoyed seeing Joe's group on the TV series, thought they were a good set of villains, and I was surprised how closely it played out to the comic book series version of it, even to the point where when Rick goes after the one guy who had Carl there, the balding guy with the hair and the knife, he just kind of wigs out and kind of goes and runs away. But obviously, the big thing was the bite on the neck, straight out of the comic book series. Very cool. Really enjoyed it and thought it was just awesome scene all around. The whole excitement where Joe's got him, they're just sitting there, they're talking about letting people in and the whole thing with Terminus, and then next thing you know, they get the jump on him and they come in. And then Daryl, of course, basically says, they're good people, that kind of thing, and Joe sees it as you're siding with them, so he basically is going to be killing Daryl. And then, of course, Rick kind of turns the tables, and we see all of Joe's group essentially killed, which was pretty cool. So the bite was the best part, of course. The bite was the most exciting part and the best. In terms of how it was filmed and everything, so this episode was directed by Michelle McLaren. I don't recall seeing her direct any of the previous episodes of the Walking Dead television series. It looks like she directed Pretty Much Dead already, which I thought was fantastic. And she directed Guts from season 1, earlier episodes. I thought she did a pretty good job. I think this episode was written pretty well, but I did miss not having Ernest Dickerson direct it. He usually does the big episodes like Too Far Gone, the finale for season 3, the finale for season 2. He's basically The Walking Dead's biggest director, essentially. With this one here, it was like, I just felt like it was a little bit not that clean, not as clean as what Ernest Dickerson's able to do. For example, the bite. The bite was something that was emphasized a little bit, but it was kind of quick. It wasn't emphasized as much as it could have been. It really could have been kind of a slow-mo type slowdown thing, maybe even a zoom in where Rick just, bites down or something and then rips, and then you can just see. It's just the angle, the camera work, everything. It wasn't the best. It was good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining. It was awesome to see, but I just think it could have been a little bit cooler because that was like, the moment from this episode. It was still awesome, but I think if Ernest Dickerson would have done it, it probably would have been even better. Just saying. Just saying. But anyway, so all that stuff with Joe's group finally resolved, and obviously Joe's group's dead. We won't be seeing them in the series again. So they're kind of like, season 4 second half type villains that I thought were pretty interesting, pretty cool to see in the series. So that whole thing with them was a highlight for me of the episode. And then, of course, the second main thing we got to see, which was Rick's group actually arrive at Terminus, and we got to see sort of a more overall view of Terminus and what it actually was. Smart move by Rick, of course, not to just walk right in the front door, but they jump the gate, and he leaves the bag of guns on the outside, just in case. You never know, and it sounds like we'll probably be coming back to that early season 4. If they can get out, if some of them or a couple of them can get out and get the guns, then we can see, something happen with that. I assume that's probably where they're going, which is why they had him plant the bag of guns there. I'm sure they'll be coming back to that afterwards. But it leaves us in a really weird spot, the whole thing and how it ended with Terminus. Like, what are they going to do? Like, they're trapped. They're like rats in a trap. They're all there, and it was cool that we got to see sort of, all the members of the group, most of them anyway, meet back up again. The only miniature group we're missing is Judy, Tyrese, and Carol, I believe. They didn't show up this episode, so we don't know where they're at or what's going to happen with that, and especially because they do have the baby. Maybe that will have something to do next season with, if they arrive there, maybe they can kind of be inside men, sort of like Daryl was for Rick. Rick's group went with Joe's group because they have a baby with them. So if they get to Terminus with the baby, they might be treated a lot differently than just regular survivors, that type of thing. Especially because with Rick's group, they kind of took an aggressive stance towards it right away, and that's why seemingly they were turned on right away. But I really liked the part 2 when Rick found that watch, and he's like, "Where did you get this watch?" That was great, and pulls the guy at gunpoint. Only thing about that whole sequence that I thought was a little bit weird was, now it makes sense, but when I was watching it, I was like, are these guys on the roof like the worst shot ever? Like, they keep missing them over and over again. Like, what is happening? Like, how can you not hit them? Like, how do you guys have all this weaponry? You've been alive all this time in the zombie apocalypse, and you can't shoot for shit. But obviously, they weren't intending to. They were trying to drive them in a direction, this type of thing, like rats in a trap, that type of thing. So that was cool. Really liked the environment, getting to see all the different parts to it. The weirdest one for me was the lady in the operating machine. Those who arrive. It's like she's just like sitting there like reading this. It's like, I thought that was a recorded message. Like, literally, this lady here, and that's her whole job in a zombie apocalypse, is just to sit there, operator, and just say the same thing over and over again for months on end. Like, Daryl and them, they heard the radio message. What was that? Like I don't know, back at the prison when they went with to get the antibiotics for all the sick people. Remember when they heard that in the radio? It's like, how long has she been saying this for? Has she just been repeating this for the last 2 years, like all the time? They couldn't figure out how to use like an automated system or find something they could use. Like, I don't know. It was just, it was weird to me. It's like, really? Like, this isn't automated? It's like, this is 2014 here. Well, in the zombie apocalypse, I think it's supposed to be that 2014, but I don't know. But anyway, that was weird to me. I didn't catch what they were all doing in there. I was looking, and it was fast and stuff, and I haven't watched the episode a second time over yet, so I'm going to watch it later, and then I'll be able to give my thoughts on this. But I didn't see what Gareth's people there were doing. Like, were they mapping things out or painting or something? I don't know. I couldn't make it out what they were doing in time. I missed it, unfortunately. So I'll have to touch base on that afterwards after I watch it again. But anyway, so go ahead and post in the comments if you want to tell me. I'll know, but by the time you post in the comments what they were doing, I will have checked it anyway, so don't bother. But anyway, I'm not sure exactly what they were doing there. And then, of course, we meet Gareth. He gets to introduce himself. And impressions of Terminus and Gareth's group, there's a lot of people in that group. I was thinking it would be a lot smaller because, like, when Rick's group, Daryl and Michonne and Carl, their mini group, I guess, when they run out into that one area where they get trapped at the end, there's like the fence, and there's literally like, you see all these faces through it with guns. There's guys on the roof. Gareth's over on this side. There was people inside. Mary's in there at the front. There was other people at the front. It's like, how many people does this guy have? This guy's group is huge. It's like, similar to the prison when it was fully populated before all the the killing and everything. Maybe close to like Woodbury size in terms of what we can think. I would say if I had to estimate a size, I would think at least 20 or 30 survivors. Wouldn't you say? At least 20 different survivors, I would think. More than a dozen, at least. Because there was guys on the roof at different positions as they're running through. And, I take in The Walking Dead, you don't have Spider-Man. It's not like these guys can roof to roof, just like web swing across and start shooting in different spots. And then there's also ones in the... So there must have been at least a dozen or two survivors in Gareth's group there. During this whole thing, and possibly more outside of the camp that aren't there at that time. So really crazy, and the finale, the final line at the end, there's when they find out they're screwing with the wrong people. I liked it. I thought it was pretty cool, but at the same time too, it's kind of like, you're screwed. Like, what are you gonna do? Because The Walking Dead is supposed to be realistic, right? So it's kind of like, if you're in that type of situation, I really don't see how you're gonna get out of that. You know what I mean? Like, how are you going to get out of that? You have no weapons. There's like a group of 20 or 30 people. They're heavily armed. They know the territory. They've got you locked down. They've got the whole place compartmentalized. It just seems like you're kind of screwed. So I guess we'll see what happens next season. I'll do my predictions video tomorrow, just as usual, rather than doing there's no promos or anything yet, obviously, but I'll still make a predictions video and release it tomorrow, just because it's what I do all season long. So we'll talk more about that in the predictions video tomorrow. But yeah, in terms of the episode, I liked all the stuff with Joe's group. That was the most exciting part for me. And then the part at the end, probably most exciting of that for me was actually when Rick had the guy with the watch. That was really like, whoa, that was really a very tense moment. So that was cool. And let's see, what else we have? Of course, all the flashbacks. Now, this is a Frank Darabont thing. I see what you're doing. I see it. Frank Darabont does this all the time. He used to do this too in The Walking Dead. He even did it on Mob City with these flashbacks, flashback moments to things that really add to the current situation. I loved all the flashbacks here. They did it just like his style. They it's not to say that TV shows people don't use flashbacks, but he used to use them exactly this way, which is why I bring it up. And they've been used throughout The Walking Dead in the past before, so it makes sense they would continue. But I thought the usage of flashbacks in this episode was perfect. Some of them were really smooth, with Rick sitting there before the credits, the intro. The one I also like, Carl's cleaning his gun, and then it zooms into Carl, and he's got the gun, and it's kind of, like fading back as it's showing him in Terminus. Really great usage of flashbacks, of stuff with Herschel, even where you see Beth with the baby and everything. It's like, oh man, there's so much emotion as a viewer that I get out of seeing them do things like that. And in a finale, we don't usually see too much of that, especially not throughout the episode. So I thought that was great. This finale really mixed in better than the other finales, I'd have to say. Good character concentration with all of the other action too. So rather than it just be an all-out action, episode, that type of thing, we really had some great, flashbacks to Herschel, the farming and everything like that, him teaching Rick and the decisions they made that we never got to see up until now, which was beautiful. If they'd have used a clip from earlier on that season that was already in an episode, it wouldn't have had the same weight. But I really love this because they showed us stuff that we had not seen before. You got Patrick, he's playing with Legos. What's Carl doing? He's cleaning his gun. He doesn't want the Legos. He's not interested. He wants to clean his gun. He doesn't want to build little Legos, so he wants to build a gun. He wants to rebuild it, take it apart and put it back together again. And just all the stuff with Herschel, man, it was so touching, so well done, all of it. Every single one of them, I loved it. I thought they were just amazing usage of the flashbacks in this episode. Loved it. Want to see them do that more throughout the series going forward. More stuff like that. Parts we haven't seen. Maybe even it was footage that might have been cut. This kind of thing we don't know. And they decide, hey, let's use that. And do this. Just great planning, great usage, and everything looked just like the prison in memory. Like it didn't look like they filmed it now at the end. You know what I mean? Like back, it looks like it was filmed then and they used it now, and just great moments and great uses of I loved all the flashbacks. So those were great, and in addition to that, probably one of my favorite parts of the episode is when Rick tells Daryl that he's his brother. That was a really touching moment, and I really enjoyed that. It's kind of like it's sort of like the camaraderie that Rick had with Shane earlier on. But I feel like even more so because, Shane and him were partners, that whole thing. They worked together probably, we don't know how long, years. They went to school together, all that kind of thing. But what Daryl and Rick have been through in the zombie apocalypse, it really was a touching moment to see him refer to Daryl as his brother like that. I really loved it. Kind of like you don't have to explain yourself, that kind of thing. You were alone, whatever the case may be. And that was a great moment. I have to say, that was a really touching one. And it's great because, like I said, they mixed that character concentration development into the finale with all of the action too. So this episode was a really well-rounded finale as a result. And aside from that, there was some good character stuff with Michonne and Carl again too. She talks about Andre a little bit, tells Carl that he doesn't need to be scared, and kind of hugs him, that whole thing. Really nice to see them kind of bringing Michonne into that, family, so to speak. Similarly, in the way that when you look at the flashbacks, it's kind of like, Rick's family, Herschel sort of filled this, I guess fatherly kind of role. Michonne, for Rick anyway, Michonne is filling this motherly kind of role for Carl, and that's beautiful. It's pretty beautiful to see. So aside from that, I don't want to go into too much detail, too much other detail, because I pretty much give my thoughts on all the main things. There was other things too in the episode, and all around, I thought it was a really well-rounded finale. I really enjoyed the exciting scenes, the watch and everything, the bite night. And, all around, just really a crazy cliffhanger to sort of end season 4 on. Season 4, the finale, not a ending portion, but sort of a continuation with the ending of Joe's group and them tracking Rick, and Rick's group starting to all get back together with the addition of Abraham's group. And I didn't see Eugene and Rosie. They could be in there. I just didn't see them possibly. And then of course Tyrese and Carol. And we'll have to see how this all plays out. Really excited for next season. It's going to be a long break to find out what goes on next or what happens next. In terms of a score, I rate season premieres and season finales at a higher scale, because those are the really exciting episodes. Those are the payoff episodes, or the big episodes of any series. In terms of this finale, as a finale, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I thought it was great, really well-rounded. Maybe not my favorite finale ever, but I did like it a lot. Now, the big thing about it was that we didn't get any character deaths from Rick's group, and we still didn't get to see what happened with Beth. What's happened with Beth? Is she still alive? Is she somewhere trapped? Is she, what exactly is Gareth's group doing there? Do they keep people in reserve for when they want them? Or what is the case here? I guess that would make sense, and there's a lot of people at Terminus, so I guess we could see something like that. Anyway, predictions video will be up tomorrow. I'll probably do my death predictions video on Tuesday for next season. I'll probably do my top 5 moments for The Walking Dead season 4 finale, because I want to do that. And lots of other discussion topic videos coming up, guys. If you're new to the channel and you want to subscribe, please feel free to do so. And aside from that, send me some video suggestions if you guys have them, talking about the finale, talking about season 4 as a whole, the series, or what I think we'll see in season 5. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this review, guys. Another great episode of The Walking Dead. Another solid finale. Can't go wrong. The Walking Dead, always strong. I'll call it here. That's it for this video, guys. I'll see you for the next one. This is Trev, and I'm saying peace.